e5 is a common response that establishes a presence in the center, controls d4, and opens up the queen and dark-squared bishop. Knight f3 develops the knight toward the center, attacks the e5 pawn, and prepares to castle. Knight c6 develops the knight toward the center, protects the pawn on e5, and eyes the d4 square. The Ruy-Lopez opening develops the bishop to immediately attack the knight on c6, the lone defender of the e5 pawn. Knight f6 develops the knight and attacks the undefended e4 pawn. d3 protects the e4 pawn and allows the dark-squared bishop to develop. Bishop c5 develops the bishop, attacks the f2 pawn, and prepares castling. This threatens to win a pawn by removing a key defender. This offers an equal trade of pieces. This maintains the balance in material with a good trade. Takes back. This kicks a bishop. This moves the bishop to safety. Moving from its starting spot, the knight gets involved in the game. The bishop is kicked by a pawn and must now move or be captured. This move puts the bishop on a safer square. The bishop is ready to be developed to an active square. A solid choice. Developing the bishop and increasing influence in the center. White develops further. This is a fair move. White's knight has moved to a square with greater activity and control. This is the strongest option. Applying pressure to black's pawn chain. After all captures, this is an equal trade. This is an equal trade. This forces the opponent to double pawns. Recaptures. Black develops further. There were worse moves, but also something much better. This connects the rooks, which helps them work together. That's fine. This is not the right idea. This misses a better way to add a defender to a vulnerable pawn. This permits the opponent to kick a bishop. A very strong play. One of the best moves. The bishop is kicked by a pawn and must now move or be captured. This overlooks a better way to move a bishop to safety. Black keeps the momentum, moving the pawns forward. There were worse moves, but also something much better. This overlooks an opportunity to defend a pawn that was under attack. This threatens to eventually win a pawn. This stops the opponent from being able to eventually win a pawn. That's not a mistake, but it's not the best move either. Very precise. Right on target. The knight finds a new active square. This threatens to win material through a skewer. This stops the opponent from being able to win material through a skewer. The pawns are advancing, aiming straight for the king. This overlooks an opportunity to offer an equal trade of pieces. This is the only move that works. This defends a pawn that was under attack and had no defenders. Black's piece has moved to a square with greater activity and control. White keeps the momentum, moving the pawns forward. The game was close to equal, but now White has the advantage. This missed an opportunity to punish a mistake. This is the strongest option. Very precise. A solid choice. This is not the right idea. There were worse moves, but also something much better. This misses a much better move. This is not the right idea. White's bishop has moved to a square with greater activity and control. That's an unfortunate error. The rooks can see each other now, allowing them to provide mutual defense. This misses a much better move. The pawns are advancing, aiming straight for the king. This offers to exchange pieces of equal value. There were worse moves, but also something much better. After all captures, this is an equal trade. Takes back. This isolates a pawn, which is a weakness. This threatens to tactically win a knight. Only one move worked there, and this wasn't it. This is an equal trade. Recaptures. The rook is now on an open file, which helps control squares across the board. This offers an equal trade of pieces. The game is still close to even, but white lost their winning advantage. This stops the opponent from being able to tactically win a queen. Takes back. This misses an opportunity to strike at the center with a pawn. This is the only good move. This defends the attacked pawn. This overlooks an opportunity to create a pawn chain. This overlooks an opportunity to strike at the center with a pawn. This permits the opponent to kick a knight. The knight is kicked by a pawn and must now move or be captured. Black's piece claims an outpost, adding pressure with tempo. This moves the rook to safety. This threatens to eventually win a pawn. This prevents the opponent from being able to eventually win a pawn. This is a fair move. This evades the check from the rook. This wins time by threatening a bishop and forcing it to move away. A strong move, occupying an outpost square and keeping the initiative. Right on target. Recaptures. Takes back. Now black can't stop white from winning a pawn if they make the right moves. This misses a better way to block an attack on a vulnerable pawn. This permits the opponent to create a passed pawn. This takes an outpost, a square where the bishop cannot be kicked out by a pawn. A very strong play. This wins a pawn. This move puts the rook on a safer square. That was a free pawn. This threatens to win material through a tactic. This captures a knight and eliminates a threat. This is the strongest option. This defends a pawn that was under attack and had no defenders. This moves the rook to safety. The pawn is now passed because it can no longer be challenged by pawns as it tries to promote. This puts the rook behind the other player's passed pawn. This steps away from the checking rook. Recaptures from a previous move. The rook is kicked by a pawn and must now move or be captured. This move puts the rook on a safer square. Pushing a passed pawn. An active king is critical in the endgame, and getting it off of the back rank is the first step. The passed pawn moves towards its goal. One of the best moves. This threatens to force eventual checkmate. This moves the rook to safety. This defends the attacked pawn. A solid choice. A very strong play. One of the best moves. Very precise. This strikes at the center with a pawn, trying to gain space. A solid choice. Opening with the king's pawn controls the center and opens up the light-squared bishop and queen, often leading to sharp games. The Sicilian defense controls the d4 square with c-pawn. Knight f3 develops the knight toward the center to prepare for a d4 pawn push, where the knight will recapture if black captures on d4. Knight c6 helps control both the d4 square and the e5 square. Bishop b5 attacks the knight on c6 and prepares to castle kingside. The bishop is ready to be developed to an active square. Castling gets the king out of the center of the board, while also developing a rook. Black develops the bishop and attacks the center. Right on target. This kicks a bishop. This overlooks a better way to move a bishop to safety. The bishop is kicked by a pawn and must now move or be captured. This move puts the bishop on a safer square. This kicks a bishop. This moves the bishop to safety. Developing the knight and increasing influence in the center. The bishop is ready to be developed to an active square. This is the only good move. This maintains the balance in material with a good trade. With this recapture, white introduces a new piece to the game. This moves the bishop to safety. A solid choice. This creates a pawn chain, linked pawns that form a strong structure. This threatens to tactically win a pawn. This misses an opportunity to castle to the same side as the opponent. This permits the opponent to play a stunning move, ignoring the threat on the bishop. This missed an opportunity to punish a mistake. Both kings are castled and ready for the middle game. This connects the rooks, which helps them work together. Moving the rook gives black more flexibility in the middle game. Very precise. This is the strongest option. This moves the bishop to a more active square, making it gain scope. This overlooks a better way to develop a queen off its starting square. This overlooks an opportunity to attack a pawn chain. Right on target. This offers an equal trade of pieces. This overlooks an opportunity to centralize a knight so it controls more squares. This misses a better way to recapture a piece. This allows the opponent to win a tempo by threatening a queen. This attacks a queen, winning a tempo when it moves away. This misses a better way to move a queen to safety. This threatens to win material through a fork. This threatens to capture a pawn and win material after the follow-on trades. This stops the opponent from being able to win material through a fork. This kicks a knight. This offers to exchange pieces of equal value. This develops a piece while also winning a tempo on a queen. This is the only move that works. This blocks an attack on a queen. This forces the opponent to get an isolated pawn on a semi-open file. Takes back. This move puts the bishop on a safer square. After all captures, this is an equal trade. Recaptures. This blocks black's pawn. This threatens to tactically win a pawn. This loses a pawn. This wins a pawn. This protects the attacked pawn. This offers an equal trade of pieces. White was worse off, but now they are in a losing position. This maintains the balance in material with a good trade. Takes back. Black still has the better position, but they lost their winning advantage. This loses material. This wins material. Recaptures. The pawn is now passed because it can no longer be challenged by pawns as it tries to promote.